Hi, and welcome back to French with Unacademy. Have you ever wondered why some words are masculine in French while others are feminine? How do you know that a house is feminine and a phone is masculine in French? And why is it even important? The gender of nouns exists in some languages like Spanish, German, or Russian. So if you speak one of these languages, you might find this concept a little bit easier to understand. However, even if you do speak one of these languages, the genders of nouns don't always match in two languages. For example, a word that is feminine in French might be masculine in Spanish. Whether you speak a language that has the gender of nouns or not, I'll break down all the basics for you in this video. I'll share all my secrets for recognizing and learning masculine and feminine nouns. So if you're ready, let's get started. You might already know that every noun has a gender in French. It can be masculine or feminine. For example, the word house, une maison, and a table, une table, are feminine in French, while a computer, un ordinateur, and a phone, un téléphone, are masculine. Unfortunately, there is no obvious reason why some objects or concepts are masculine and others are feminine in French. Let's talk about why it's important to know the gender of nouns in French. Knowing if a word is masculine or feminine allows you to use it correctly in a sentence, and thus it makes you sound more natural when you speak French. Some articles in French are only used with masculine nouns, such as un, le, or du, while others are only used with feminine nouns, like une, la, or de la. For example, the sentence je vais au cinéma means I'm going to the cinema, and you cannot say je vais à la cinéma because the word cinéma in French is masculine. In contrast, we say je vais à la pharmacie because pharmacie is a feminine noun in French. Similarly, the sentence je bois du café is correct because café is a masculine noun and the article du is used with masculine nouns. However, if you want to say I drink beer, you will need to use the article de la instead of du in this case, because beer is feminine in French. Knowing the gender of nouns in French is also important when it comes to using so-called possessive adjectives, or words like my, your, his, its, etc. For example, we say mon frère for my brother, but ma sœur for my sister. So the translation of my changes depending on the gender of the word it's used with. Now let's talk about how to actually know the gender of a noun in French. Although there is no rule that applies to every single noun in French, there are some techniques that can help you recognize masculine and feminine nouns. The first way to recognize a masculine or feminine noun is to look at its context, or the words surrounding it. As I mentioned earlier in this video, some articles are only used with masculine nouns, while others are only used with feminine nouns. So in some cases, you can recognize a masculine or feminine noun by the article or the adjective it's used with. For example, if you see a sentence like j'ai acheté une voiture, you can figure out that the word voiture is a feminine noun because it's used with the article une. So what I recommend is paying attention to articles and associating each noun with an article. For example, instead of memorizing individual words like maison, voiture, ordinateur, you can learn une maison, une voiture, un ordinateur, or la maison, la voiture. And by the way, I did not mention the word l'ordinateur because both le and la can be transformed into L apostrophe, and then you cannot tell the gender of the noun just by looking at the article anymore. Another way to tell if a word is masculine or feminine is to simply look it up in a dictionary. A good dictionary will show you the gender of nouns and examples of phrases using it. For example, if you search the definition of word bouteille in French, you will see that it's a feminine noun, and you'll also see examples of phrasing using it with the article une. Of course, you can't always use a dictionary, especially in the middle of a conversation, so this method isn't always the best option. Another trick to finding out whether a word is masculine or feminine is to look at its category. There are some categories where nouns are usually masculine and others where they are usually feminine. For example, days of the week are always masculine. Le lundi, le mardi, le mercredi, le jeudi, etc. The seasons and months are also masculine in French. For example, the word for spring is le printemps. Countries ending in the letter E or E in French are usually feminine. La France, la Suisse, la Turquie. Note that this doesn't apply to all the nouns ending in E in French. Talking about endings, there are some endings that can help you identify masculine and feminine nouns in general. Before we discuss masculine and feminine endings, let's do a quick lesson on the Unacademy app.
Kilo is the French word for pen.
All right.
Kilo.
So you see it's a masculine noun.
The French word mon means my in English. Mon is used before masculine nouns.
So how do you say my pen? Right?
Voiture. Voiture translates to car in English.
Okay. Is it masculine or feminine? We'll see. Une voiture.
Une voiture.
So it's feminine.
Kilo. Voiture. We already know that mon means my and is used before masculine nouns. However, for feminine nouns, we use ma.
Exactly. So how do you say my car?
Ma voiture.
Ma voiture.
Kilo.
So a pen is masculine and a
Voiture.
car is feminine. And now let's translate my pen and my car.
Kilo. Et. Ma. Kilo est ma voiture.
Good. All right, let's discuss some common feminine endings. Nouns ending in tion are usually feminine. Une addition, une passion, une révolution. Next, we have is, une surprise, une entreprise. Words ending in I or il are usually feminine as well. La fille, la famille. Next, we have words ending in ans, such as connaissance, assurance. The exception in this group is le silence. Words ending in ur are usually feminine as well. La nature, la culture, la facture. And finally, we have the ending t, la liberté, la qualité. Let's move on to the masculine endings. The first one is ment, M-E-N-T. Un appartement, le bâtiment, le gouvernement. Next, we have the ending âge, le garage, le paysage, le dommage. There are a few exceptions like la page, une image, la plage. The next ending is OIR, le miroir, le soir. Words ending in I are usually masculine as well. Le travail, un détail. The next masculine ending is al, le journal, un animal, le festival. And finally, we have the ending IER, le chantier, le calendrier, le métier. So these are the most common endings. Of course, this list is not exhaustive and there are more endings and more exceptions that I haven't mentioned. And that's it for today's video. I've just shared all the basics and all the best tips I have to help you learn and understand the gender of nouns in French. If you learned something new, don't forget to like this video and I'll see you in the next one.